there, it's Lizzie all from Old Stables Craft again, and I've got a super quick, super easy project for you today, which uses one of the Celebration stamp sets. This is the Hey Chick stamp set, which I think has already become one of the favourites, certainly among the demonstrators. It comes either as wood-mounted or clear mount. So it's red rubber, regardless of which one you go with. You either need to have clear blocks or just put it on the wood mount, and it's a really cute, really easy set to use. And this is the card, and I've also decorated the envelope with a bit of photo bombing as well. So we're actually using all except 2 of the stamps from this set. We're also going to be using the lovely new watercolor pencils, which come in 13 colours, mostly from the Brights collection, but there are a couple of neutrals and a couple of softer, a couple of different colours, but mostly it's from the Brights collection. And just to remind you before we start on that, it comes from Celebration. And it is, let me find it, I should know where it is because I've used it a lot. It's this at the back on page 17. And if you don't already know, Celebration is for free items, and you qualify for a free item for every £45 you spend. That's before postage and packing. So if you spend £90, you can get 2 items. If you haven't already got a copy of this and you don't have a demonstrator and you would like a copy, please just let me have your contact details, which you can do on my website, and there's a link for that below, and I will get one sent out to you as soon as I can. So let's get started. We're actually using one of our notelets. These come in either crumb cake, which is what I'm using here, or in Whisper White, and they're a great little card to have on hand and to do with quick and easy projects. And they come with the envelope, so that's great. So we've got a blank card and a blank envelope and a piece of Whisper White, and this is cut so that it's just a thin mat round. So that's cut at roughly 3 1/4 by 4 3/4, and this is what we'll be stamping on mostly. So let's pop everything else to one side. I'm going to bring in my Memento ink pad. The reason I'm using the Memento ink pad is because along with the watercolor pencils, I'm going to be using our blender pen. This comes in a pack with 3, although they last forever, or seem to last forever, but you get 3 in the pack. They're £9 each for 3, so £3 per pen. And they've got a sort of glycerine in them, so they're not water, they're just something moist, and I think it's glycerin. So we're using this. Memento, once it's dry, is water resistant, so it dries quickly, so it's quite a good one to use for this technique. So we're going to get the stamping done so that can set, and then I might give you a quick flick through the catalogue, the Celebration catalogue, whilst we're making sure this is absolutely dry. So it's the usual, because this is a fabric pad, I do a sort of twisty motion and then a tap, just to make sure that we don't have the fabric imprinted on the stamp. And then we are going to stamp about halfway up and to the right of our card, and it's straight down, straight up, and we don't need him anymore. And then we're going to take our little egg. This is so cute, our little egg that's just beginning to hatch, and that's going sort of in the middle and slightly further down the piece of paper, and to the left of the middle, I guess, and that's down and up. We finished with him, and then I want the Hey Chick, because I want it to look like the chicken is talking to the little chick that's just hatching. And again, that's a down and an up. And then the Have a Happy Day. And I'm going to put this down, right down at the bottom of the corner of the card. And there, that's that done. And then before we finish, we will get our fresh envelope, making sure that we've got the flap at the top. And on the original, I actually put the chicken coming in from the right, and then I suddenly realised that if you want to post this, you need to put your stamp in the top right-hand corner. So we'll put him on the left. I'll bring in a piece of scratch paper, and while I'm doing it, I'll bring in the pencils that I'm going to be using. So same again, twist, tap, 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 and then just to one side, so he looks like he's photobombing. But because this is a paper, you don't get the cleanest print that you would get on the card, but it's only for a bit of fun, and once we've coloured it in, it'll be fine. So that's that. So that's all the stamping done. I'll leave that because I'm going to need that later. I'll actually just go through the colours that I'm using, and I'm also using one Stampin' Writer. So we've got Basic Grey, Pumpkin Pie, Basic Black, Early Espresso, Calypso Coral, and Real Red. And then I'm using the Early Espresso marker. Those of you that have been following along my videos, you know that I quite like using Early Espresso rather than True Black. And then the blender pen. So just also a quick flick through this, and I'm really just going to do a quick flick just so that you can see what's in here. So we've got some nice two-step stamping flowers, some beautiful designer series paper with balloons and countryside, and it's lovely. It goes with one of the stamp sets and one of the framelets in the Spring Summer catalogue, the Lift Me Up bundle. A lovely thank you stamp, which is, as you can see, put my hand against it, that's really quite a large thank you, and then 4 sentiments to go with it. And then some beautiful lace that goes with the Falling in Love suite. Some Inside the Lines designer series paper, which is adult colouring and is perfect if you're into watercolouring, or you can use your markers or your watercolour pencils. Some truly luscious ribbon. I haven't got it yet, but I know from those who have that is not a picture that does it any justice. It's much nicer in the flesh. Tasty Trucks, which seem to be selling all sorts of things, including hot dogs and pancakes and what am I trying to say? Beef burgers and tacos and stuff. Lovely tin. This is like, there's a project tin in the annual catalogue which has got blue stripes, and this is the gold, and it is a proper gold version of it. An Any Occasion stamp set. The Hey Chicks. Some beautiful designer tea. These are like little things to put on a t-shirt. And there is a t-shirt die set in the Spring Summer catalogue. And then Pretty Pocket Card Kit if you want some quick cards that are these little pocket cards. And that comes with everything you need. So all lovely things. Now, one thing there's some confusion over where it says here, this project uses a free item, and then it lists a load of items. You don't have to buy these to get this stamp set. You just have to buy any £45. It can be anything that you want to buy that is at least £45 or a multiple thereof. So don't get confused by that. But there we are. Celebration runs through to the 31st of March 2017. So have a look at that. If you're in the market for spending that sort of money, then that's perfect. So we will start by colouring this in. Now, watercolour markers, there are good watercolour markers and there are not so good watercolour markers. Needless to say, these are brilliant, and they really do match our colours. So if it says real red, it means it is real red, and red is one of those notoriously difficult colours to match. But but they are very, very heavily pigmented. So don't try and put too much pigment down, because as soon as you add water, it does intensify. So we're going to start with the smaller details. So we'll start on the comb, and I'm just going to use a little circular motion just to get the pigment down, and then on its little waddle here. And that's pretty much all we need the red for. Then this is the pumpkin pie, which I'm going to use for his feet. Just want to check that you can see. I have my camera set up so that I can see through the screen to make sure that you can see what I can see. We're also going to add some pumpkin pie around the sort of highlighted parts on the chicken, so that it's not just going to be a flat colour. So there we go. And then the Calypso Coral, I'm going to add a little bit in sort of a few places, just so there's a bit of difference of colour and it's not all the same. Then the brown, now the brown I'm going to put pretty much on everything, and I'm just going to do it on a sort of side to side, and I'm using more the side than the point. If you put too much pressure on the point, and I'm using a very light touch, but if you put too much pressure on the point, you will break the lead or the pigment, which is obviously not something we want to do, because we want to use as much of this as we possibly can on the paper and lose as little as possible through breakage or sharpening. And again, if you use the edge of your pencil, then you keep the point sharp for longer, which helps maintain it for a bit longer. I forgot his beak, so we'll put her beak on. Then we'll put in some grey. Now I'm going to put some grey here just to introduce a shadow, because at the bottom obviously there would be a bit of shading. And then also along the crack. And then I'll put a bit, again using the side, just a bit underneath so that he's not floating in midair, and a bit under here, again so that we're not floating in midair. And I'm also going to put a bit in on top of the brown to provide some shading, and round the wing. And although it doesn't look as if there's much there, it will make a difference when we come to blend it in. And then, just so that we know that this is our big fat chicken, we're going to put a bit of black down here as well. And again, don't get too carried away with putting too much pigment down, because it does react once we get the blender pen on. So that's all of that. We'll do the envelope in a minute. Blender pen, although this looks, you can probably see, it looks as if the end here is dirty. If I scribble it on the paper, you'll see that actually it's not. It's stained rather than dirty. So we'll start by just doing our little bits of shading. And try not to go over the same bit too much, because although it's not water and it's not too wet, you can still overload the paper and it can start pilling. And you can see we can spread this pigment out a bit, and we'll do that shading here too. And then I'm going to, normally I would clean the nib off, but because I'm going to come into the bottom of our chicken, I'm not too worried about cleaning off. And what that then means is that I can just bring everything up, and I'm doing a sort of round circular motion so that we don't have too many lines, because we've already got lines from the pencils themselves. So a circular motion just helps to break those lines up a bit and spread the pigment around. And then we can just go over any areas that look a bit as if they need a bit more blending. And as you can see, very quick, very easy. Just clean off our nib and then come into the red. And then we're going to need a bit more there, I think. So we can pick up off the end of our pencil, we can pick up some more red. So that's a really deep, lovely red. And we'll probably need a bit more on this here. And then clean that off before we go in to do the beak and the legs. There you are. Absolutely perfect, beautiful, just what we wanted. I'll put the nib on, the lid on that for the moment while we just finish off the card, and then we will look at the envelope. Now I want this to look like it's cracking, so with my early espresso and the early espresso stamping right marker and the nib end, rather than, because you probably know that one end is a brush tip and one end is a writing tip, and all we're going to do is flick out from the crack so that we've got that crack, or you know, so it looks as if there's a bit of a crack. So we will pop this onto our card base while we've got it, and it's only a little notelet, so we don't need to go too mad with adhesive. You could use the Tombow multi-purpose, which will give you a bit more wiggle room with lining up your mat onto your card, but for speed I will use that. So that's that. And then if we come over to here, this is really a question of just laying down some pigment that we can then spread out. So this I am doing a little harder, and this is the Calypso Coral, and I'll put some of that on his tail as well. And then a bit of red, and this really is, you know, this really is a scribble. So long as you stay inside the lines, it really doesn't matter where you go, because you can move the pigment around beautifully with the blender pen. Put a bit of orange on his beak. So this is the pumpkin pie. And a bit on his tail as well, a bit in his wonderful mad hair, a bit there as well, and then we'll find our early espresso. Just touch in there, a bit in here, then take our pen and blend all that out. And I just want to show you up close, hopefully without sending everything doolally, that because I've blended this out, you can see the fact that it wasn't brilliantly stamped on this paper, it really doesn't matter. And this is what it looks like before you blend it, and then when you blend it out, it's all one colour, or one, you know, looks like it's all part of the same artistic effect. And it really does mean these pencils are great, because it does mean that anyone, however artistic or not, can get a really great effect. And I have seen them in blue and green and all sorts, so all great fun. So there we go, there's the new one. Let's bring in the old one. So you can see both of them. Oops, let's let him photobomb himself away. So there you are, really quick, really easy, great fun. You could do a whole set of these, and if you did a whole notelet pack of these, you could use them for Easter cards if you wanted, or just cards to have on hand to send out to people as and when you want to. Great fun. And if you make them all at once, it's really quick to do all the stamping and then go back and do all the colouring in with your watercolour pencils, and then back over with your blender pen. and it would be a great conveyor belt project. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you again soon. Oh, and of course I should have added the blog post that goes with this will be in the description bar below. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more videos from me, please hit the subscribe button. If you need any products, please hop over to my blog where you'll find the link to my online store. That's open 24/7, and so you can get all of the items for this. They'll be all listed on my blog post. So that's great. Hope to see you again soon. Take care.